Hello, SimJC here, and you can call me Sim. Welcome to my Black Ops 2 follow-up video. In this video, we are going to look in more depth of how to restrict your upload speed, which I talked about in my previous tip video. The footage you are watching right now is of me, strangely enough, but on BT Infinity. Yes, I've made the switch from the world of ADSL to the world of fibre and cable. So I obviously have myself a new snazzy router. But when I was doing my research for myself and a mate of mine, I found the options rather limited, and thus was pretty surprised. I've only been able to find two manufacturers that support this feature out of the box. That being Draytech, who are more aimed at the business market and their prices reflect that, and TP-Link with more products aimed at the home market. So, in this vid, we're going to look at 3 TP-Link routers, 1 for ADSL and 2 for the world of fibre and cable. I'm going to give various tips throughout the video, so stay tuned. First up, we're going to look at the ADSL router that I've used personally for the past year or so, the TDW8960N. It is a router with a built-in ADSL 2 modem. It provides 4 Ethernet 100 megabit ports, along with B, G and N wireless support on the 2.4 GHz band. But the real important feature we are interested in this video is IP bandwidth control, and not QoS, which is quality of service, that only prioritizes packets intended for your web browser, for example, and is no good for what we want to use it for. You can pick this one up for about £30 to £40. Next up is our fibre and cable router, this one being the TLWR2543ND. Don't worry about it saying that it's discontinued, you can still buy this one for around 50 quid. With this router you connect your BT modem to the router's WAN port, and in the case where you are with Virgin, you just switch your Virgin box into modem only mode. This is an option available found in the web browser interface. You then connect an Ethernet cable between that box and this router. Although this router has dual band support, you can either use the 2.4 GHz or the 5 GHz band, but not both at the same time. And again, the main feature we are interested in is the IP bandwidth control. The final router is TP-Link's flagship router, the TLWDR4900. This one allows you to use both wireless bands simultaneously, giving you the advantage of both worlds. It also has a hardware NAT. If you recall from my previous video, having a router that supports NAT makes gamers' lives much easier, and allows you to support multiple consoles in your household. The beauty of having a hardware NAT is that it takes even more latency out of the equation, giving you higher performance. In PC terms, think of it as hardware acceleration in the world of graphics cards. A PC with a dedicated graphics card is always going to be much faster than a PC that doesn't have one. The main overview page on their website for this router doesn't show the IP bandwidth control feature. But don't worry, it's hidden on their features page. Where else would it be? This router can be picked up for around 80 to 100 quid. So now, let's log on to the ADSL router. You'll notice on the home page it shows you the upload and download speed, egress being upload and ingress being download. The quick setup just shows you the basic ADSL settings in place. Remember to make sure that you have UPnP enabled, vital in the world of gaming. Next, we are going to look at setting up DHCP. You want your gaming console to have a dedicated IP address within your home network. The way we do that is by using your console's MAC address. A MAC address is an alphanumeric code that uniquely identifies that network device. Your router will list the devices attached to it, showing you the MAC addresses for each one of those. Here we are going to set up one for my console using an example MAC address. Normally you will see a mix of numbers and letters. We then associate a fixed IP address to it, that address must be within the IP range we specified on the main DHCP page. As you can see, we have now applied it. Remember, we are not going to use quality of service, we are going to use traffic control. For this to work, the egress and ingress values must not exceed the actual ones shown on the right. Now every time you reboot your router, those values on the right will vary a little bit, so keep an eye on those values and pick a safe maximum. This next page is where it all comes into play. We now add the IP address we created a minute ago and specify its maximum and minimum speeds for both upload and download. Normally, we would set the priority to use the highest, but in this example, I'm keeping it at a medium. Sometimes when you make router changes, you'll need to reboot it for them to come into effect. Once you've done all of this, job's done. Now, we are going to log on to my snazzy new fibre and cable router. Straight off, you will notice there is no upload or download speed stated. This is because it does not have a modem built in, and thus does not know. Remember, make sure you have UPnP enabled. Here, on their flagship model, you notice that we have two options for NAT, so make sure both are enabled. Again, we are going to set up a unique IP address for my console, using an example MAC address. And that IP address must be within the start and end IP address range. Now we're going over to bandwidth control. Remember, the router does not know the top download and upload speeds, so if you don't know what they are, use speedtest.net to help you. When doing this test though, make sure that no one else in your household is using the internet, and make sure you do it via Ethernet cable and not wireless. Now we've enabled it, set the line type to other and enter the speed values, remembering to multiply the value you have by 1024. Then we go into the rules list to add our console. Again, enter the IP address value, set the protocol to all, and enter the speeds. Once you've done that, you are ready for the final tweaking. What you have to do now is find the ideal upload value for you. I would suggest starting at 512 kilobits per second. Play at least 3 games in 3 different lobbies, and then adjust either upwards or downwards by adding or subtracting 128. We then repeat this process but with values of 64. And then for the final tweak we add or subtract 32. The video you are watching, I only changed my upload speed by 64. This made that always being half a second behind problem go away. It is what I considered a controlled test. Since I've switched ISP, I now have to optimize my DNS. And I found I've got DNS servers that are 510% faster out there than my ISP provided ones. So check out my previous video on how to do this shown on the left. And on the right is my Revolution DLC should I get it video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, please leave it a like. As always, feel free to leave a comment. And to stay in touch with the latest videos, subscribe! Until next time, this has been Sim.